This video is sponsored by MyHeritage.
Did you know WWE wrestlers not only get to keep the belt as long as they're champion, but the WWE will also send them a replica they get to keep forever?
Secret perks of being a WWE wrestler.
One perk hardcore fans probably don't even know about had to do with the restaurant WWF New York, The World. Take yourself with me back to the early 2000s. With an effort to compete with Times Square tourism, the WWF opened up their flagship restaurant right in the heart of Times Square. And if you're a fan of Tough Enough, you know that's where I got my beginning. What you probably don't know is this restaurant/bar was open 7 days a week, catering to anyone who was a fan and anyone who just wanted to get a good meal. Where the perk comes in is, as a WWF talent at the time, I could go in at any time. I could take my friends with me at any time, and I could get a meal free on the house. And I did. Anytime I was in the area, I made sure I stopped in, and I didn't have to remind them I worked for the company. Hell, they knew it. They would greet me with open arms and give me and my friends top shelf service anytime we wanted. And what stinks is now that I'm actually in New York on a regular basis, I sure wish this restaurant was still open. Not sure if I'd get free food, but I'd surely try.
The next perk of being a WWE wrestler, I personally never got to experience, but I know people that did. Being world champion in WWE, they want their champions to carry a specific aura, to look like champions when they travel. One way they accomplish this is by providing all world champions first-class airfare. When the legend killer Randy Orton won his very first world title in 2004, he and I happened to be riding at the same time. Now, he never asked for it. He was actually told, "You're our champion now. You're the face of the company." And they wanted their world champions to appear important. Now, unfortunately for us hardcore champions or Intercontinental, Tag, any other championship, this perk didn't extend to. The only championship this pertained to was your world champion. And the moment they lost that world championship, this was a perk that was taken away just as quickly. One of the best perks of being a WWE wrestler is the brotherhood, the bond we form in a locker room. Take Devon, for instance. I mean, Devon's my brother. But is he my brother? Oh, fortunately, with today's video sponsor, MyHeritage, I can find out. Maven, get the laptop. On a more serious note, I never knew who my biological father was, and my biological mother passed away when I was only 2 years old. And I was left in the dark for years about my family history until I partnered with MyHeritage. Trusted by over 90 million users, MyHeritage is the global family history service. One of the coolest features MyHeritage offers is discoveries. It uses both record matches and smart matches to expand and enhance your family tree. Like, I had no clue my grandmother's maiden name was Samuels, and MyHeritage helped me find a bunch of cousins all scattered throughout North and South Carolina. So if you're like me and you've ever wondered about your family's origins, I'm here to tell you, your answers could be a few clicks away. Plus, I got a special gift just for you. By using my link in the description or pinned comment, MyHeritage is gonna give you a 14-day free trial. Now, there are some perks that continue still to this day, and I'm not quite sure everyone gets this perk, so mum's the word. But about 15 years after I left the WWE, I was able to go to a WWE show. And I don't know if they knew who I was, remembered who I was, or even cared who I was. But the moment I told them, "Hey, I'm with the wrestling," they opened the curtain, go right through, and down to the arena I went. And
I wasn't even alone. I had a buddy of mine, a co-worker, and his son, who we went to a show a few hours before SmackDown would take place. Took him right down to the ring and let his son meet all the wrestlers that he knows, loves, and watches on a weekly basis. While I was there, I was able to see some of my old friends, some of the boys I knew from the past, and I was able to meet some guys I had never met before. And after a few hours, when they needed to shoo us out so the fans could start coming in, they didn't tell me, Maven, it's time to go. Oh no, they tried to offer me tickets. They told me I could stay for the rest of the show. I'm not saying I'm special, hell, I know I'm not. But I guarantee that does not happen if I was not a WWE wrestler.
Another nice perk of being a WWE wrestler, free gyms. WWE themselves, they demand a certain look from their wrestlers, but they do not offer us a gym membership. I mean, the contract I had that I did not go over, I'm sure had nothing about them paying for a gym membership. So how do we get them? I obviously can't speak for everyone, but for me personally, the local Gold's Gym owner in my town was ecstatic to have me working out. She opened her doors anytime I wanted to come in, never having to pay for a membership. And the only thing she asked in return was to occasionally bring some of the boys by. And I did this when she moved locations. I even had Dave Batista come and he graciously signed autographs for 2 hours, absolutely free of charge. Now, when I was on the road, we still had to maintain the same discipline and get to the gym almost daily. And being in a different town day after day, obviously I wasn't a member of all these gyms. There wasn't always a Gold's Gym in every town. Sometimes it was an LA Fitness, sometimes a Crunch. What did we do? Well, for the most part, the moment we rolled into these gyms, management was excited to have wrestlers working out in their facility. And what that adds up to in the end is more money staying in my pocket.
One perk fans might not know about is free merchandise. During my time as a WWE wrestler, I took home shirt after shirt, anything that was promoting an upcoming show or pay-per-view. At most every televised event, they would have boxes and boxes of these shirts of various sizes, and you could just take them at will. And that's a perk I wish I still had.
This next perk is one that helps you sleep a little easier and even extends long after your time as a WWE wrestler is over. Anytime the WWE puts out a DVD or a collaboration or anything that you're in, you're gonna get paid on it. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be about you. As long as you are in the footage, in the content, you're gonna get paid on it even once your days as a WWE wrestler have been put to bed. And this extends beyond DVDs, beyond just content. Even if you had an action figure, a t-shirt, anything with your likeness on it, you could expect a check in your mailbox every 3 months. Freshly removed from leaving the WWE, I was getting handsome royalty payments of anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 every 3 months. And this was a check that I knew it was gonna fluctuate. It was gonna go up and down, but it was for work I had already done. I didn't have to do anything else. It was something that I looked forward to and even waited on in some cases. Now, once the WWE put out the network, I will be honest, royalty payments for me took a nosedive, and I know from talking to other former wrestlers, their royalty payments took a nosedive as well. As a matter of fact, the last royalty check I got was $63. But even still, the fact that I'm getting checks for a job I haven't done in almost 20 years, I'm eternally grateful, and it still kind of shocks me to this day.
Another WWE perk is overseas trips. Now, I got to explain this perk in detail because despite what the Nature Boy Ric Flair told you, not all wrestlers are jet flying, limousine riding all the time. We're paying for our own hotels. We're paying for our own rental cars on a week after week basis. This changes, however, on overseas trips. The moment we're going overseas, we know almost everything is paid for. They were gonna feed you every day. Obviously, they were gonna fly us, and they were good accommodations. Usually, we would be on a charter flight, and on these charter flights, we would be in what's known as business class. And business class seats are equivalent to first class seats on a regular flight. So we were flying in style, and once we landed, they had buses there to pick us up, take us where we needed to go. Then they were putting us up in nice hotels, and we were staying one to a room. Everybody got to have their own room and have their much needed privacy. For a normal loop, WWE will provide catering just on TV days, meaning at Raw, SmackDown, or a pay-per-view, obviously. But this all changes on an overseas loop. On an overseas tour, they're providing us with food every single day. And it's not just any type of food, it's good food. And when you're in the WWE, you're more than likely watching your physique. So they're making sure they have stuff like chicken breast. They're making sure they have health conscious options on every tour. And this is every day. Not only was this a financial benefit, hey, you get to keep more money in your pocket, but this was also just less hassle along the way. That's definitely why most of the boys looked forward to overseas trips. Now, being a WWE wrestler definitely opens up a lot of doors. One of which was meeting one of my childhood idols, Method Man from the Wu-Tang Clan. I know what you're saying. Maven, you could have met Method Man without being a wrestler. True enough, but here's what made the experience completely different. When I met him in Los Angeles in the early 2000s, I saw him and immediately got giddy. He was somebody that I had looked up to. Hell, I bought his CDs. I knew the words to his songs. And as I walked up and got closer, I was taking my opportunity. I was going to introduce myself to Method Man. I mean, he's backstage at our show. I'm not at a Wu-Tang Clan show. But as I extended my hand to introduce myself, he knew my name. He knew who I was. He was a fan. That right there cemented that I was gonna ask for pictures, tell him I appreciated his work, and it felt good knowing that he appreciated my work as much as I appreciated his. I could have met Method Man without being a WWE wrestler, but the interaction truly was different at the fact that he knew and appreciated who I was. Another perk of being a WWE wrestler is limousines. Now, I know I've mentioned in the past that when we travel, we have to rent our own cars, and it's up to us to get from town to town, city to city. But there are times exceptions would be made, and these would be made during autograph signings or other WWE sponsored events. I remember on one occasion, I had a signing on a day off, and it was going to be a 2-hour trip from my house. I didn't have to drive it. Oh no, they were gonna send me there in style in a nice stretched limousine. And what made this so crazy, the limousine arrived to my neighborhood 3 hours before I was even scheduled to go. And I still remember there being a little buzz around my neighborhood, all the Joneses wondering, who's this limo for? What's it sitting in our cul-de-sac for? Where are they going and who are they taking in it? Well, it was me, and I was going to meet fans for a WWE sanctioned signing later that day. And the limousine they gave me, oh, it was decked out. It was full of food and drink and everything to ride in style, to make my trip as truly comfortable as I can imagine. And you might be asking, well, Maven, what did you do to earn this limousine? Nothing but be a WWE wrestler. You see, the WWE wants to make sure that when their superstars pull up, that's what you see, a superstar. They want to give the illusion of star power. And even though I was never a main event, a top guy, even though I was lower on the card, it didn't matter. I would sometimes get this superstar treatment. If I had a media day or an autograph signing or an interview the WWE set up, they made sure that we were traveling in style and arriving looking like the superstars they wanted our perception to be.
Here's a perk for you. Use the link below to get a 14-day free trial of today's video sponsor, MyHeritage. And if you want to know the results of my personal DNA test, click the link on screen.